It is 8 p.m. East Coast time on April the 20th, and I'll be your host. My name is Chuck Hansen. I've got my good friend, John Haremza, is here. John and I have been mingling together for the past 30 plus years. We just haven't ever had the opportunity to work with one another until now, right? And we've been kind of passing in the dark and one room to the other. And June of 2018, we actually met in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. But, you know, John is a phenomena. I mean, he really is a phenomena in this industry, but in life, because there's not, you know, I'm sure, and I wish, and, you know, to duplicate, you know, John's success. And so, John, you know, what I wanted to do over the next 10, 15 minutes or so is just kind of, you know, ask you a few questions, have you go through a few things. And, you know, let's start out in the beginning, right? I mean, it was what year? Why did you decide to get into network marketing?
Okay, well, thank you, Chuck. And yes, it's been a long, long time. We are a couple of who'd ever thought we're the old timers. Yeah, we're the old timers. But you know, it was 1988, December of 1988, and you know, I was a blue collar worker. I mean, I was working in a potato chip factory. I was a welder, building, maintaining equipment. You know, a friend of mine invited me to his home to look at a water filter. And, you know, you think about now 31 years ago, you know, in-home water filtration was kind of unique, cutting edge. I actually, when I was invited to look, I thought they wanted me to build a display or something, right? I mean, not sell, because I mean, I literally was so shy I wouldn't even talk to someone unless they said, you know, said hi to me first. So, you know, I went to this event, and this is kind of an interesting point because I ended up coming to this event a couple hours late. There was a breakdown at the factory. And I came a couple hours late, you know, in my blue uniform with a hairnet and protective goggles, smelling like a potato chip. And I joke about it, but, you know, they held the meeting up for me. And I walk in and there's these two suits from Minneapolis, you know, and they're like, you know, we just held this meeting up for this long. You know, they wanted to drive back to Minneapolis, you know, 3-hour drive. And there were 5 of us there that night. And I got so excited about the product. Right? I didn't understand the concept of networking whatsoever. I wrote a check for $480 right on the spot, brought 4 50Cs water filters home to living in trailer house, brought it home to my fiance at the time. This is December of '88. We're getting married December 17th. And needless to say, she didn't share my enthusiasm about what I had sold. She wanted me to stop payment on the check, and I'm just like, don't worry about it. They're going to wait till Friday was payday. They're going to wait till Friday to cash it, so we'll be fine. And I went out that weekend knocking on doors, trying to get someone to try one of these filters. You know the approach, the puppy dog approach, right? Got 3, I placed 3 filters, and I came back a week later, and I sold one of the 3. I bought it for $120, sold it for $159. Sold it for $179, put $59 in my pocket. My brother was with me for moral support. And I looked at him and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be rich, right? He wanted to get involved. I didn't think I wanted anyone else involved because I'm like, I don't want to create my own competition by recruiting people. And so, but he's my brother. I says, you know, okay, you know, we'll go ahead. I'm going to let you into this, but we need to make a pact between us. No one else is to know about this. And the reason I think this story is kind of exciting is because here I am 31 years later, having made $24 million. I literally entered this business, knocking on doors, you know, part-time, didn't want anyone else to know about it because I didn't want to create my own competition, right? So, you know, but I could feel something was here. And the whole industry of network marketing, being around, you know, Jeff Roberti and being around the personal development and starting to see a different life. I mean, and that's why I say, I mean, people sometimes will enter network marketing and they don't think they had a great experience. And maybe they didn't from a financial standpoint, but I promise you they grew as a person. I mean, this is an unbelievable industry. We don't just grow our businesses. We grow personally. We help we help grow people. So that was my entry into the industry. It was accidental. I mean, you know, and it just kind of evolved. I was very coachable, and you know, I essentially do the same thing today that I did 31 years ago. I mean, I'm a very simple, basic person.
John, what do you think your biggest challenge was back then? Was it just your personality?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, my biggest challenge was probably, you know, just being so, you know, shy and introverted. You know, living in a small town, never traveled more than 100 miles out of I mean, I didn't know anybody. You know, I was, you know, so it was contacts but I mean, really, if you break it down to the bare bones of what this is, and I talk about it all the time, you know, it's like going to a good movie or eating at a good restaurant. You know, I got excited about something. I started seeing a picture, and I mean, I joke about it, but it's not a really far from a stretch of the truth. It's, you know, I mean, when I talk to people, I literally didn't know what I was talking about. And when I was done talking with them, they didn't know what I was talking about. Right. But they wanted to join me. It was that I was so excited about something that I learned, you know, that I didn't dream or know was possible. I started to think I could be more than a maintenance person. Right.
You know, so, your fiance and my wife had a lot in common. I came home at 4 o'clock in the morning after having gone to a big meeting and watching people cross the stage, making all kinds of money, and just saying to myself, that person looks like an idiot, and he's making what? And
that might have been me, by the way.
I came home and told my wife, you know, and it was not good. I mean, you know, it was you know, a long conversation, but hey, enough about me. Let's talk. Hey, you know, you've went through a couple of companies, 3, 4 companies, right? You've done extremely well in each one of those companies, and but let's get right to the heart of things. You know, we both know what the fatality rate, you know, what the failure rate is of any company, let alone network marketing companies. And it's really staggering, right? I mean, 1-2% of the companies make it. Why do you think so many companies fail? Number one.
Well, you know, I think that, you know, it's probably a combination of a lot of little things. You know, sometimes the stars just don't align. I think at the end of the day, though, probably the most important thing is what makes up a company is the people, right? I mean, if the people make bad decisions, if they get greedy, right? I think here's what as you ask the question, what I think it is I think many times these ownership of these companies look at us, you and I, the distributors, as the enemy. Right? And we're actually the company. I mean, we're the people that make up the sales that make it even possible. And they start seeing people making a lot of money, or they, you know, because many of them have never been in the field, right? And they're looking at numbers, and they forget to realize this is a people business. It's about how you treat people, how you make people feel. I mean, a successful company, I believe, every decision they make, they should be asking themselves, okay, how is this going to affect the field? Because every decision you make either is going to affect us positively or negatively. And the mistake I think many of these companies ask themselves is, how is this going to affect the bottom line? How is this going to affect us versus the field? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's typically not the companies that it's the ownership that lead to the failure of a company. It's not the distributors. Distributors can get it to go, but rarely can the distributors mess it up. It's the company that messes it up.
Absolutely. You know, and I've talked a lot about that over the course of the last 30 plus years. It's joining somebody else's experiment, right? They don't have the experience, so it's an experiment, but you buy into it and you're the victim of that experiment. And I'm about to do a couple of things on social media that I'm going to talk to you about tomorrow. But why do you think, I mean, given the odds, now I've known Dave and Joyce. I've known Dave, didn't really know Joyce, but I've known Dave for about 8 years. You've known him a lot longer. I met him in the last failed company that he was in, right? That went out of business out down in Florida. And we couldn't believe that he was closing up the door and locking the door. But, you know, and when Dave made that comment to me about, and we were sitting right there about, hey, I'm tired of this nonsense. I'm tired of these guys going out of business. I'm going to go back to North Dakota and start my own damn company. And so when I looked over at him, I kind of had a smile and a smirk on my face. And I said, yeah, Dave, you go ahead and do that. You know, see how that works out for you. What do you think? Why was it that Dave beat the odds?
Well, I mean, I think number one, knowing Dave as long as I have, right? Because, you know, I've known him for 15 years. And the one thing I'll tell you right up front is don't ever bet against him, right? I mean, when the going gets tough, that's when Dave gets really tough. And he just has got such determination. I mean, you look at the name of our company, Valentus, it stands for prevail. I mean, no matter what is thrown, and hey, has he made mistakes? Sure he has. We all make mistakes. But, you know, I was talking to someone the other day actually about another company that just went out of business, and the highest they ever got to was like $3 million a month. And, you know, the guy came across as, you know, I mean, you know, just a really high end, you know, has got the education, got the, you know, college degrees, the pedigree, right? But he could never get the thing, but he lacked heart, right? I mean, you can't, because people buy people. So it's Dave's determination, it's his passion, it's his heart. And, you know, I think, I mean, you know, the guy has got some incredible brilliance to him. I mean, even though we can take and, you know, sometimes not understand things or decisions that are made, at the end of the day, we did 90 million last year. And we're coming up on 200 million in 6 years, and we're probably going to do the next 200 million in the next 18 to 24 months.
That's the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, the future. You know, where do you know, 2020 got loaded into the system with a virus, and we've tried to get it rebooted, but, you know, we haven't done a very good job. And yeah, you know, everybody's sales are down, the numbers are down, people are fearful, and you know, and rightfully so. Where do you see, you know, how do you see 2020 playing out? But more importantly, how do you see the next 3 to 5 years? Because again, I'm a long game player, right? I mean, I believe that, you know, if you work at something long enough and you don't give it a 90-day try, then, you know, the odds become more and more and more in your favor. So where do you see us 1 year from now? Where do you see us 3 to 5 years from now?
Well, and something you just said kind of I want to mention, because too many people have short-term goals or short-term outlook. They want everything to happen immediately, right? And that comes back to that earlier question you had with Dave. I mean, the guy is in it for the long term, right? And you can see that by his actions, right? And it's the same with distributors. They quit just before they have that breakthrough. And you know that as, you know, in being in this industry, we see it every day. You know, you got to have that stick-to-itness, that consistency, and that perseverance and persistence, right? But you know, right now, I think there could not be a better time for Valentus or for this industry. I mean, all these people at home, the industry, I believe, the industry of network marketing over the next 3 to 5 years is probably going to double. I think you know, we're as a company holding our own. I mean, we grew a little bit last month. We'll, you know, probably grow a little bit this month. I mean, we're holding our own. And I think as this virus slows down, you know, we're going to have an unbelievable second half into this year. I mean, I think we're going to have an unbelievable, just like the economy, as the economy rallies, so will this company from a number standpoint. But from the overall recruiting, I mean, I'm talking to Dave earlier today, and he just says, man, you know, last week, of like 3-4 days last week, starting off this week, number of daily enrollments, we haven't had these numbers since, you know, November, right? So, I mean, there's unbelievable positive signs right now about where we're going.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, you know, I keep telling people that it's a, you know, it's a marathon, right? I mean, yes, we're going to do some things wrong. Yes, mistakes are going to happen. Yes, this is going to happen. but you just got to stay positive. You got to stay focused. You got to be in the game and continue to play the game. John, one last thing before I let you go. One piece of advice. I mean, if you could just kind of boil it down to one thing that somebody could hang on to, what would that be?
I think, the word focus is probably one of the most important words and strongest words there is, because you mentioned it, in a way, it's what you focus on. Because if you focus on things that are going wrong, more things are going to go wrong. If you focus on what's going right, what we have, not what we don't have, where we're going, not what, if you stay focused, if a person, which leads to that word of mindset, right? If you can keep your mindset right, focused on the bigger picture, on the long-term picture of where you're going, and not let the little emotional roller coasters and disappointments along the way take you down. That's probably the biggest challenge, right? Emotional roller coaster, mindset, which comes back to the word, probably most important word in it is belief. And so in order to maintain belief, you got to keep your focus right. You got to do the personal development, and you got to stay consistent and plugged in. That's more than one thing. I'm sorry, but it's a simple business. And that's one of my secrets is I keep it extremely simple.
John, I'd love to have you do a once a week or once every other week mindset, some kind of training, right? That not just opportunity. Anybody can do the opportunity, but it takes a certain gift to kind of take all the experience that you have and encapsulate it, and then kind of boil it down so that it is palatable for the average person. And, I consider myself a very average person. I just always had above average dreams, right? I knew when I was born, I was in the wrong house. When I figured it out, I said, wait a second, these people aren't rich. I said, I must have got switched at birth. And then, we checked on that, and I didn't. So I was stuck with the family that I had. So it was tough, growing up on the south side of Chicago, and seeing all, and all you have to do is just kind of look at where other people are, and you can kind of predict your outcome, right? If you're right there and you're going down that same road, you can kind of predict your outcome, and you got to do something different to change that outcome. Marshall Silver is a great example of that. You're a great example of that. I'm delighted and honored to be working with you, and glad that we're finally connected, glad that we're finally friends. And you've been an inspiration, and I told Dave when I first got started, I said, I'm going to give you 3 years of my life, right? I'm going to give you 3 years of my life or $100,000 a month, whichever comes first. And then you had to go off and hit 500,000 a month. And I had to rethink it again, right? I had to rethink it. And I called him up and I said, Dave, I've rethought about this. I said, now that John's at $500,000 a month, I said, I'm going to give you 5 years of my life, because I knew I needed to stretch it out, or $500,000 a month, whichever comes first. I hope the 500,000 comes before the 5 years. I got stuff to do, and I have more yesterdays than I do tomorrows. So I got to get on with it. So.
Well, as you know, this comp plan will put those numbers out. And, with where I see our company heading, that 500 could come before the 5 years.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you very much. You're welcome to stick around. I'm going to go through a very quick presentation, guys. It'll just kind of couple in with this section that John just did. So, John, great having you with us, and look forward to seeing you at the next event. So, hey, with that, you guys have already kind of got a little picture of who I am. That's my dog, Rocky, over there. I've been 33 years in the industry, not made as much money as my buddy No, you can't see anything. You can't see anything. No, I wonder why. It should be okay. Can't see nothing.
No, we see you and your background. We just don't see your dog.
Oh, okay. So you can't see new share.
All it says is learn how to record the meeting.
Yeah, learn how to record the meeting. I got that. I got that. Let's try that. You see anything there, Lori? Yeah, now you do. Okay.
Because
Well,
the timing is perfect.
Yeah, let's go backwards a second. So there. Now you see my dog, right? Good. Okay. Now you see my smiling face before I lost 40 pounds. So, hey, in the session that we did earlier at 7:30 with Les Brown, he talked about, what you're supposed to do, what your purpose is in life. And, I learned very early on, my purpose was to help as many people get out of their predicament as I possibly could. I mean, I found myself traveling around the world, building teams all over the globe, created 25 millionaires that I know of, that I'm very good friends with because that happened, and having friendships all over the globe. So, I was semi-retired until May of 2018. I found myself the fattest I had ever been, ever. And lo and behold, I got a call from Dave Jordan. So, speaking of Dave Jordan, there he is. There's his smiling face. So the company, I talk about it all the time, that if you're going to join a network marketing company, join one that is at least 2 to 3 years old, that's already kind of got their feet, planted, because there's a reason that the industry organization known as the Direct Sellers Association doesn't even take applications from companies, network marketing companies, before they're 2 years old, because 98% of them go out of business. When Dave called me, he was all excited about a weight loss coffee. And you know what? I really had no plans whatsoever to do this. But I thought, well, what the heck? I'll listen to the call. I heard some great testimonials. I thought they were all fake, but they weren't. And, I said, hey, I'll go ahead and spring for a couple of canisters of coffee. So I ordered them and started drinking 2 cups of coffee every morning, just like I've been doing my entire adult life, and accidentally got on a scale at the vet's office with my dog. He got off, I got on. And I said, that scale is not coming up to where I thought it should. I went home, weighed myself, and long story short, I lost 9 pounds the first week. I lost 18 pounds the first month. Called Dave and said, I just bought an airplane ticket. I'm on my way to Sioux Falls. So that's when I met John up there, and sat there for a couple of days looking, talking, and looking at everything. Because I was really looking for a reason not to do this. I mean, I really was. I was looking for an excuse not to do this, and I couldn't find one. This company was reminiscent of 3 other companies that I was part of, that I made millions of dollars in each one of those companies. And it wasn't because I was particularly smart. It was because of the timing of everything, and that the company was already 4 years old. So, I like to put this up here. I like to, blow the horn of the sales, that we were up 525% in 2019. I take credit for a lot of that, but not all of it. So 300% is me. The rest of it is somebody else. But I also like to put up something that I learned a long time ago, that documentation beats conversation. And so I like to put up earnings, right? What real people are earning. And this chart here comes from Business for Home magazine, and you can go check it out yourself. And that's just the beginning. This is just the start of something spectacular that's going to happen over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. Our product line is pretty amazing. I mean, I just polished off an immune boost, this little, pina colada drink over here to boost your immune system. I love the Slim Roast Optimum coffee, now called Thermal Roast. I participate and take the 24/7 carb blocker, AM and PM. I love the High Burn product. The only trouble is that if I start swigging it from the bottle, I drink too much. And so don't swig it from the bottle. The Instant Youth doesn't come in a half a gallon, container. So it really doesn't, I wish I was more vain and I could use a little bit more of it. But Rocky loves the K9. He uses that. I love the more detox. We've got another detox called Vtox, which is outrageous. And 24, 25 products now and more products coming. So you'll find a half a dozen of them in there that you'll love, that you can't live without. So go to I Am Team Valentus, go check that website out, and go see our Facebook testimonials, which is fbtestimonials.info, and go and take a look at that. I'm going to give you some simple steps. I like to take things that appear to be rather difficult. In fact, Les Brown talked about that. A lot of people just don't know what to do. That's why they never take the next step. So, we've got to tell people exactly what to do and how to do it. And so, there's a lot of different ways to get started with Valentus. You can get started for as little as purchasing one product, right? One product, $59. Then we have a 3-pack of product, which is $145. We've got a 6-pack of product, which is $239. We've got this 16-pack, which is $600 basically. And then we've got a bigger package with more product, 36 products, $1,200. But I picked this package because it does 2 things. It gives you enough samples, right? Gives you enough products to try. I like picking the 16 products so that I've got a good array of products, but it maximizes the payout of the compensation plan. Now, listen to me. That's ultra important. If you're going to do anything, you want to get paid the most amount of money possible. So, if you can't spend $600, I get it, right? Start where you can start and, try to work yourself up to, like John said earlier, he started with, we called it a 6-pack, right? He started with 6 products back then in the old NSA days. I started with $35,000 worth of water filters, 35 grand. I didn't have them shipped to my house. My wife would have killed me, but I had them shipped to my buddy's house. So try 3 products a month. This is a real simple plan. Purchase a business builder package, commit to trying 3 products a month every month for the next 12 months, and you'll be hooked, right? $160 a month. Yes, that money is going to come out of your pocket, but I'll show you very quickly how it will come out of your earnings. And then find one person, just one person, one quality person a month that will duplicate what you just did. So, if you can see yourself doing this, I'll show you how you can become one of the top 1% or 2% of the income earners in the entire country. This is the quickest and easiest path to a 6-figure income that I've ever seen. And I'm sorry it's taken me 18 months to kind of figure it out and lay it out so that it is simple, because it's taking all these moving parts and putting it into something that makes sense. I show this is put out by the company, and they do this to show that what the average monthly income is of certain positions, right? Ruby is where you start when you buy your business builder package. Emerald is the next position you get to. Diamond is the next position you get to. That's kind of starting at a full-time position, $3,000 to $6,000 a month, right? Most people making that kind of money are probably making more money with Valentus than they are at their life-sucking job that they hate. Double diamond, $7,500 to 12.5, triple, 15 to 30, 30, blue diamond, 33,000 a month to 75,000. The plan that I'm going to show you will get you to diamond in 9 months. We'll get you to double diamond in 10 months. We'll get you to triple diamond in 12 months. Now think about it. Here we are, April the 21st, 2020. It's April the 21st, 2021. How would you like to be earning somewhere between 15,000 and 30,000 a month in the next 12 months? Possible, possible, possible. I'm going to show you every bit of it. 13th month, you know, blue diamond. So enroll one person each month that buys a business builder package, commits to trying 3 products each month, and enrolling one person. That's the person you're looking for, right? I go to my best friend, Tom, and I say, hey, Tom, have you ever thought about earning any money from home? I found a great company. And people are making a pot of money working from home, right? The guy I work with, this guy, Chuck, who doesn't look particularly bright, you know, he's made over $500,000 since he started with this company. His other buddy is making that much every month. So, hey, Tom says, hey, yeah, okay, yes, I'd like to make some money from home. You send them a video, you let them take a look at it. Next month, I go to gym, right? And here's what I want you to look at. I want you to look at team size. I want you to look at this volume number. I want you to look at gross commissions, and I want you to look at net commissions. You make your $600 purchase, the next month you make a $160 purchase. So yeah, you made a little bit of money, you made a couple $100, but you're still in the hole. Look what happens. Month 3, month 4, right? Your group is now grown to 15 people. And you'll see something, the correlation here. You'll see you had 7 people in your organization month 3, and you have 700 in volume. That goes back to that $160, those 3 products. You see, this business is all about a lot of people doing a little bit. A lot of people doing a little bit, right? That little bit is that $160, those 3 products. So here I am making my $160 purchase every month. I'm still, after 4 months, I'm still $285 in the hole. I show this to you to also give you expectations, right? I want to clearly give you what this will look like. You know, you're not going to get rich overnight. You know, it's going to be something that's going to take place over time. But I'll show you. Month 6, you now have gone from 7 people, right, to 15 to 31 to 63. Remember that correlation, 31, 3,100, right? 100 business volume for every $160 purchase. You've now made $1,050 that month, right? You're 6 months into business. Nothing to really, get too excited about unless you know what month 7 and 8 is going to be in month 9 and 10. Then you can get pretty excited. This is, my first check in the industry, and we got paid once a month. My first check was $43. My wife rolled around on the floor, hysterically laughing, that I can't believe you worked that hard and you got paid only $43. I said, yeah, but honey, you don't understand what's about to happen. And I didn't understand it either, but I was just telling her what I had been told. So, here you are, month 7, month 8. Month 8, $4,250. Now, you're probably have just made or are making more money from Valentus monthly than you did from that job that you don't like, right? So far, you've made $7,400. Your group is 255 people. And there's that correlation, right? There's that lot of people doing a little bit. So we move into month 9, month 10. Month 10 comes around, and my wife opened up my check a few months later, and she looked at it and she said, obviously they've made a mistake. Obviously they've made a mistake. You better go down and cash this check immediately before they've discovered the error of their ways. And I said, no, no, it's okay. You know, she said, well, can you at least do that well again next month? And I said, well, that's not a problem because you don't understand how this whole thing grows. And I, quite frankly, I didn't either, but I was just kind of, you know, moving along with the wind. So here we are, we're moving into month 11 and 12. By month 12, you now have become the hero, right? You made $68,000. You know, when I made my first six-figure monthly check, I'll never forget what my wife said. She said, I'm so glad I talked you into doing this. And I said, yeah, honey, you're the smart one. You're the smart one. And so I always follow your advice. So 68,000, you've made 135 grand, right? That obviously the $160 is no longer an issue, right? Yes, it was a little bit of a challenge in the beginning, but it's no longer an issue as you move forward, nor is it for Tom, you see, because Tom is 1 month behind you. He's over here, you know, it just falls, you know, Jim is 1 month, 2 months behind you. He's over here. Mary is over here. Sue is over here. Frank is over here, right? You see how that goes? And they will catch you, right? They will work up to your income. Month 13, here we go. That's what happened. My wife said, yep, you're, I'm sure glad that I talked you into this. So you made 200, you just made more in the 13th month than you did the last 12 months, right? The last 12 months, you just made more in the 13th month. So this is the 1 a month plan. If you're not talking about that, if you're not really considering a plan like this, I don't know any better plan than this plan. Yes, you can go a little bit faster in the beginning if you want to. That's perfectly fine, but you've got to stay consistent. You know, I could have sponsored 3 people the first month. That's great, but you got to be consistent for the second month. You got to be consistent for the third month. And if you did sponsor 3 the first month, all these numbers will change dramatically. I won't go into the reason why, but they'll change dramatically and you'll make a lot more money. So living the dream is possible. Let me just tell you that. I want you to get back to the person that shared this with you, whether you're catching it live with us right now, or if you're catching it replay on from my YouTube channel. You know, let them know. Let them know if you're at all interested. Let them know if you're ready to get started. Let them know where you're at, right? I mean, if you want to make money from home, I can't think of a better opportunity than being and doing something with Valentus over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. So, hey guys, that's it from me for tonight. I'm glad we had John on here. I'll get this thing uploaded to YouTube and off to everybody. But I want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. And with that, God bless everybody. Stay safe and stay cooped up and stay sane. If you start feeling you're going insane, call me. With that, God bless everybody. See ya.